Oh Lord, this 51-year-old neck, it be making noises. Yes, it does. Yeah, I like that a little better. Welcome, 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 you guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is me, just Sylvie, coming to bring y'all just a little bit of that 414 with the one in the middle to give you a little bit of balance because you're going to see things this way and they're going to see things that way. But if we come together for some effective communication, we may just be able to get just a little bit of understanding. Understanding does not mean that you have to agree with what someone feels or how someone acts or anything like that, but it will give you understanding. That way we may be able to work toward a mutual respect for someone's space and someone's life. That's all. That's all. I hope that y'all have had a great week. We is Thursday in. For some of y'all, it's Friday Eve, but for some of y'all, it won't be Friday Eve till Friday because y'all be having to work until on Saturdays and stuff like that. So if it's not Friday Eve with you until tomorrow, then I guess you'd be on a Saturday Eve. But either way you put it, we are nearing the end of the week. Hey, 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 I appreciate y'all for setting with me a spell. Come on in, come on in. Let's talk about the in crowd. I heard that. I'm in with the in crowd. I know what the in crowd knows. I'm in with the in crowd. I go where the in crowd goes. Are y'all in with the in crowd? I'm in with the in crowd. I know every latest dance. When you're in with the in crowd, it's easy to find romance. Do y'all want to be in with the in crowd? Because if you ain't in with the in crowd and you want to be in with the in crowd, you might want to ponder on that thing before you move forward into that crowd. Because there just may be some things and some stuff that come along with being in and a part of the in crowd. So let's talk a little bit about Kevin McCall. So I tried to put in Kevin McCall's name as a hashtag and it didn't come up. And so I tried to put his baby mama name in as a hashtag as well. And hers didn't come up. And I would have thought that hers would have came up even if it won't, but with a few little, when I put Kendra G's name in there, she's not a big hashtag. I put Chris Brown's name in there, he a big hashtag. But I'm thinking that Kevin McCall's baby mama would have came up, even on a Kendra G status. Kendra G come up. And it could be because she's an influencer on YouTube, possibly. But Kevin McCall's baby's mother is Eva Marseille. Eva from Next Top Model. Eva from Real Housewives of Atlanta. So the first time that I had ever heard about Kevin McCall, I didn't even know what his name was. Welcome, 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 you guys. I would hope that you would like, share, and subscribe. When I first heard about Eva McCall, hey, I see that you retracted that. I'll be so, look, I don't even have to do it. Be God. Get on it when somebody know they need to just retract their comment because it shouldn't have been said in the first place. But just like I said, it is my goal. The thing that I strive to do is that you have your voice in my comment section. I ain't gonna particularly read your comment out loud or anything like that, but let you have your voice. And sometimes your rational and your critical thought process will have you go ahead and just remove that comment because it was junk. But sometimes that does not happen. So, when I first heard about Kevin McCall, he was referred to as the donor. And that is in my Eva Marseille voice because that's all she ever called. You saw her on The Housewives starting a new life, and she talked about this man that she was with for some years that was the father of her oldest child, which is her daughter Marley. Her new husband, I think that she might not have that husband no more. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, forgive me. But I think that she might not have that husband. Let me go see. Let me go see. Is Eva still married? Give me a minute so I can correct myself if I'm wrong. Google will have some stuff for you. No. So she is no longer with okay. So she's not married. Let me be right by myself. Because I am advocate to you are married until you are not married. She did file for a divorce. She filed for a divorce in what's wrong with my lashes? What's wrong with my lashes? What's wrong with my lashes? My lashes too big. My lashes look like spiders. Look, I'm up for constructive criticism. Sometimes criticism ain't even gonna be constructive, but I take it because I don't like spiders, and I tend to think that my lashes look all right. But if you don't like my lashes, I can take that. But I don't think that I have on spiders, but to each his or her own. Okay, so I am advocate for you are married until I actually commented that today on someone's post. You're not divorced until you have a decree in hand that says the divorce was finalized on this date. Up until that point, you are just separated. So while I asked Google the question, is Eva still married? And Google said no, it said, but she is reconciled with her ex-husband, Michael. So I'm like, wait a minute, let me read a little further. So she filed for a divorce in 2023, but they have since gotten back together. Hence the reason that I say, and it may not be the truth for everybody, but I've been finding myself saying it a whole lot about Cardi B and Offset and Papoose and Remy Ma. Those are still married couples. Period. Can't no other woman be his man, and can't no other man be her man because she got a husband and he got a wife. And I'm talking about Papoose and Cardi, because those are the names that you're hearing. I mean, you hear Remy name. Remy can't have no man. She can go out and do whatever it is she gonna do, but she got a husband. Papoose got a wife. Whatever him and Clarissa got going on, Papoose got a wife. Cardi B got a whole nother baby, but guess what? She still got a husband. Guess what? He's legally responsible for that baby. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Oh, you said my lashes are fire? So that means you like my lashes? I appreciate it. But anywho, back to Kevin. So Kevin, Eva was adamant that she didn't want the man to know where she lived. This is all allegedly, because I don't know if it has ever been proven any way, shape, or form. But this is years. Eva was on The Real Housewives years ago, talking about him being a danger to her. It was said to be an abusive relationship, and she didn't want him to be any part of Marley's life. But I do believe that you went on to see that in that second season that Eva was up there, he began to fight for the right to be able to see his daughter. I don't know how that ever turned out, but I do also know that Michael Sterling wound up adopting Eva's daughter. What I did not know is that who Kevin McCall actually was. So now you see Kevin McCall all over the internet, and I have compassion. I promise that I do. But a great friend of mine just posted on Facebook the other day, because you have compassion for someone in their situation does not mean that you don't still get to let them know their part in the making of their own situation. So he is going on podcasts because he says Chris Brown owes him lots of money. Chris Brown owes him lots of money. And I have heard things about the industry and how it goes for songwriters. Like, they basically can get the short end of bargains, short ends of the stick and things like that. But that normally comes, that's normally coming from somebody that's not even the artist. Like, that's normally coming from the big wigs or the small hats. I just found out what the small hats was because somebody said I had made a comment about Snoop Dogg and him being bought and paid for, and the person came in and was like, he bought and paid for, the small hats told him to do. And I was like, the small hats? Then I was watching another podcast today, and when they said the small hats, I was like, oh, that's who the small hats is. You're not supposed to just be mentioning the small hats, because if you mention the small hats and you call them by their name and stuff like that, I was told you just supposed to call names like I forgot what that what the dude is that he basically owns Kendrick Lamar and Drake, because they both under the same different umbrellas of the same gosh, it was just on my tongue. But the people with the real big money. DJ Vlad is a member of the community. That's what I found out the small hats was. But anywho, so he's working with Chris Brown, and he's writing this music, and he's saying that Chris Brown owes him all of this money. And I don't know if that is true or not. If Chris Brown owes him all of this money, and if he's supposed to get all of this money, I hope that he gets his money from Chris Brown. But one thing for sure, two things for certain, Chris Brown came out, he made a little spoof, because the dude done been on all these podcasts calling out Chris Brown's name. And I just went to the Breezy Bowl, y'all. I made my little post, about the Breezy Bowl. I'm not a big Chris Brown fan. I'm not. My brother invited me to the Chris Brown concert. You don't tell nobody no. When I say I have been blessed and highly favored in this year, since June, the blessings have been coming, and I'm talking about not having to pull no money out of my pocket. Talking about a 6-day cruise paid fully, flight and all. Talking about free groceries. Talking about a free ticket to the Breezy Bowl. Talking about your girl is blessed and highly favored. That's divine favor. And it ain't finished. But anywho, Chris Brown came on, and Chris Brown was like, oh, I owe him all this money, so I just went and bought a car with your money, Kevin. And I just went and bought this with your money, Kevin. And I just went and bought that with your money, Kevin. And I was just like, ooh, sting, like a stingray. And they showed one podcast where he was crying and saying, he on EBT. I think one of the podcasts I watched said he stayed with his grandmother. My whole thing is, if he's able-bodied, he don't have to be on EBT. If he's able-bodied, he don't have to be on EBT. I don't know what the situation is as to why he is on EBT, but he was throwing his EBT card up in the air. That means you get food. If you're on EBT, you getting food. I don't know if he is like, because people talked about his mental capacity as of right now. But one thing stood out to me and was the reason that I wanted to talk about it. And before I say that one thing, the last podcast I watched showed different pictures of him through the years. And one of them, he was in with Chris Brown. And all I said when I looked is like, ooh, in that picture, he looked like he really wanted to be at that table. He really wanted to be in with the in crowd. He wanted to go where the in crowd went. He wanted to be in with the in crowd. But if you're not careful when you're in with that in crowd, you don't know where you're going to end up, because we're gonna read about it. We're gonna read about it. But the thing that caught me, aside from that picture where he just looked like he was just, ooh, oh my God, I'm here with Chris, bro. You know, he got in his mouth, he got I can't make them faces. I can't make those faces, the real thugged out face. I cannot. Dang, I got a Detroit accent. I am a New Yorker raised by North Carolina. Lived a whole lot of time in Virginia, a little bit in Waukegan, Illinois, a little bit in Warminster, Pennsylvania. My ex-husband was in the military. But I've never been told that I have an accent that sounds like it's out of Detroit. I like the way I sound, so I'm going to take it as a compliment, I don't know how you feel about that. But I'm going to take it as a compliment because I like my voice. But one of the comments said he blew through $15 million. And all that I heard when I heard him speaking on the podcast was what they did to me and what he didn't know. And all of that is good. But at some point, you have to self-evaluate. You have to ask yourself, what could I have done different? Is there anything I did wrong? Anytime somebody they did it to me, it's their fault, they did this and they did that. I generally say there's no self-accountability there. And I'm big on self-accountability. And I see a lot of people, I love gospel songs. I see a lot of people talking about self-accountability on these internet streets. It's not favored because people don't like to look at themselves. So if you don't like to look at yourself, you really don't want to. Okay, well, I'm glad you was able to sit here for a spell. Catch me on the replay. And even if you don't catch me on the replay, I know you're going to look at some of it when I break it up. So I appreciate you. You know I appreciate you, gal. You know I appreciate you. But yes, if we not wanting to take the deepest and the hardest look at ourselves, there's no way for us to improve. I just made that video about, I woke up like this, flawless. If you are flawless, that means that there's nothing that anybody can tell you. If you are flawless, it's in your own head, first and foremost. It's in your own mind. And anybody that thinks that they have no flaws is probably the very most flawed. Period. If you see, I'm big on knowledge, and I don't believe that it's possible to ever learn enough, but I'm bigger on wisdom, because wisdom means that you're going to take the knowledge that you've learned and make sure that you're applying it to yourself. So I don't think that there is a such thing as too much knowledge, but if you are just using the knowledge to push outward and none of the knowledge that you are gaining, you are trying to ensure that you're being better with it first, I think that there's an issue. I do think that there's an issue. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate y'all. But look, I said that about even when I put my thumbnails in. And that's going to be whether it's men or women. I see a lot of podcasters, when they're going to say something that might not put somebody in a great light, they're going to have the people looking so crazy. That's not my desire. I want to put up the best images of you because I want to see the best in people, but I want people to see the best in themselves or reach for the best for themselves above everything. So I got 3 handsomely melanated men on that platform. All 3 of them. I ain't got no problem with all 3 of them. If I could travel back in time and meet a famous person, who would it be and why? I won't go that far back. I just always wanted to meet Michael Jackson because I was always a fan of Michael Jackson. I always loved his music. Like, I always loved to watch him perform. Yeah, I was just a big fan of Michael Jackson, so that will probably, I'm trying to think, who else? Is there anyone else? Look, you got me thinking. You got me thinking. Yes. Greetings, Uganda. If there were one thing that I could change about myself, one thing that I can change about myself, what would that be from my past? That I allowed my past traumas to travel with me so far into the future. It's not that's why I try to have compassion with people when I see them going through things, but a lot of times people don't want to understand that things, places, and situations and circumstances can affect you. A lot of people feel as though if they making money, 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 money. They making money and they got the houses. I want the money, money and the cars, cars and the clothes, the hoes, I suppose. I just want to be successful. I don't own the right to any of this music, by the way. But people feel like if they have those things, then they have accomplished life. But if you are not doing the inner work, that goes with being flawless, because you feel like that you're flawless because you have made a great success out of life. But if your insides toe up, I'm going to say it all the time. I wouldn't say that it's pointless to plan ahead. But I would say no, that we can't control everything. So we can plan, but be open to the fact that life can send you in a tizzy At any given time, at any given point, life can send you in a tizzy. If it ain't what God wants for your life, one thing for sure and two things for certain, God will turn them tables. I don't care if you're the very most successful, especially if you consider yourself a child of the Most High God. But God will do it regardless if you consider yourself or not. God will turn your tables. God will flip the script. God will cut a kite string. If God wants to get your attention, God will get your attention. Marvin Winans is one of the ones in my thumbnail, and somebody said, and we're gonna get into him a little later, but somebody said that they believe that God was trying to get his attention. What is we gonna give it to God? We gonna give it to God? I'm not. But I'm done with Kevin now. Let's talk about just a little bit more of this accountability, because I'm watching Pop the Balloon. I wasn't watching either one of these shows. Now I'm watching Pop the Balloon and Kendra G. And one thing that I have found in common, and the young lady said it today, and because this is a platform for the ladies, and I say that all the time, ladies, I'm going to say what the young woman said today. Street Media says it on his platform often. O'Shea Duke Jackson says it. I watch a lot of men podcasts, but I listened to a woman say it today because all the ladies wanted to say that Kevin Samuels hated black women. And that woman today on Kendra G said Kevin had a point. He said black women don't like to be told the truth. But God told me to talk to all the ladies. So because I watch platforms that talk about ladies that have the same issue, they don't like to self-reflect, and they are not black. I know that it's not just a black woman thing, but a lot of the podcasts that I watch are based around black women or black men. But don't get it twisted. When someone doesn't want to self-reflect, that's not associated with a color. It's not associated with a gender. It's not associated with an age. It is associated with a mindset. Street Media says the black women, he said when I come up here and I talk about black men, because he's a family-oriented page, but he describes himself as pro-black family, not pro-black man, pro-black woman, pro-black family. So he will talk about men on his podcast. He will talk about women on his podcast. He say when he talking about the men, the women okay. When he get to talking about women, he loses subscribers. He loses subscribers. There was a woman on Pop the Balloon that got raw with every man that said something to her. And then she got to the one man, because when she first came out, I'm like, ooh, this might be a good one for him, because he was real mild-mannered. And he told one of the other young ladies, he was like, I'm mild-mannered, you mild-mannered. He said, that's a bit too much for me. He said, I need somebody that's going to be just a little bit more feisty, basically. But then this one comes out. And there's a such thing as being total opposites. They both in the land of totally, as far as he was concerned. And the first young lady, she wasn't, I think all her balloons got popped too. I do think that all her balloons got popped. But it wasn't because she was just raw. And I would be the first one to say, I know I can be aggressive. I do. I'm learning how to soften. And that's not just with men, that's just me. But God told me to learn how to not allow my buttons to be pushed. And when I say that is speaking about some of this aggression. And I don't get aggressive with people because I'm wrong. I promise y'all I've had people to defend me, men and women. I don't get aggressive with people because I'm wrong. I get aggressive with people because I feel like I've been wrong. But I can't control people. I can only control how I respond. Hence the instruction, do not allow your buttons to be pushed. That young lady got amped with everybody on that platform. And when she got down to the mild-mannered man, he told her that he popped his balloon because she had gotten aggressive. And she kind of had to pull that out of him because he didn't even want to say it to her really. So she was like, what? You think I'm aggressive? And he was like, yeah. He was like, the way that you responded to everybody when they just were giving you their opinion. So she turned around and she said, y'all think I'm aggressive? And they was like, they just all shook their head. And she then told them, I think y'all have an issue with insecurities. So if it can never be you, if you can never even just take it in an inkling to see if maybe this is you, and it's okay that if that's the way you are and you don't want to change, but you have to understand that it's also two things being true at the same damn time. It's also okay for a man not to want to be bothered with that. And these are men from all different kinds of spectrums. They don't have to, the man does not have to bend to your whim for you to be with him. You're going to these spaces saying you want a specific type of man. That's what I said when I was watching Kevin Samuels before he passed away. When everybody was so upset with him, I'm like, but the women, I have gone over this with my daughter several times until she admitted, well, yeah, they calling in. The women are calling into his platform. He not, and Kendra G says that often. Y'all call me. Y'all call me. Y'all, on Kendra G specifically, they are describing the kind of man that they want. This one young lady. There were two that I watched today that were under 30 with 5 children. And the first one, she was amped and aggressive. And she came up there. She said she was getting ready for her birthday. So she had the alfalfa cornrows sticking up and everything. And I understand getting ready for your birthday. But again, Kendra is saying, y'all call me. So if y'all know y'all not ready, she kept asking her, do you want to go forward? She was like, yeah, I want to go forward. The fact of the matter is, even though at some point, if y'all are going to be in a relationship like that, the man is going to see you like that. I have always been taught to put your best foot forward. When you're going on interviews, put your best foot forward. So many women on Pop the Balloon talk to those men about what they came up there like it's the first date. She was like, if this was the first date, I wouldn't want you dressed like that. I think you should have come a little bit more correct. And you knew you were coming to this show. But she came on, this young lady with the 5 children came on to a public platform. Kendra G has a large platform looking for a man. And Kendra wasn't even saying like you could have had your natural hair in a better way than you had it. But because you looking for this specific type of man, they gotta accept you with your hair everywhere, because her braids was everywhere. And I get what she was saying. She basically, like, they have to accept the fact that she has children, but they don't have to take care of her children. I can respect that. But then it still gave. It's a lot going on. Like, are you really ready for a day in life? Because I was having a hard time watching the show because all you heard, because she got stair steps almost. She got some young babies. Both of them had young babies. 5 of them. But the second one, I think that she made sure her babies were asleep or in a place where she could have a conversation with Kendra uninterrupted. Kendra kept asking her, you need to get the babies in the background crying. One of the babies keep trying to say hey to Kendra. Like, when I tell you it was so much going on, my nerves was all over the place because I was trying to watch it. And then I just hear all the babies. And Kendra brought that. She was like, the men that you are saying that you want, they might go out and work hard every day. And then you just expect that they're going to just want to be in your space and just babies everywhere. And she's always going to ask, why didn't it work with the fathers? And she said she was young with one just, I guess, was just decided that he wasn't going to be around. And I think one was in jail. One was either in jail or deceased. I'm not sure. But my whole thought process is what Kendra said. The more that you improve yourself, the bigger your pool becomes. We can think that that is not so or not. And I'm not even out here looking for no man. All that I'm working on right now is being the best me that I know how to be. I have no problem at all being single. I have been married. I was with my ex-husband for 15 years. And I was young. And I would not want to do the same thing, but I say often when I got out of that marriage, I began to self-evaluate. Because as wrong as I can say that he did in that relationship, I wasn't perfect either. And I won't put levels on it. So I didn't want to be this, I would not want to be the same me that I was there, because I know I don't want another him. And I'm grateful for him. And I'm blessed to have had him, because I have two wonderful daughters. I have two wonderful daughters. But that young lady, that first one with 5 children, just continued to go back and forth with everything Kendra said. She had a snapback, a snapback. That's can't nobody tell you nothing. And when they that young, buddy, whoo. Because when that woman, that was the last one I watched, when she was like, you black women don't want to hear the truth. I said, especially when they're young. And some of it be when they older, because one of the ones I was watching, she done went, and she was, I think she was in her mid-30s, maybe 40s. She done went and paid for the man to come over here from Africa. And he stayed with her for a year. And then he went, that's all. That's all. That's all. Look, this my darling, and I thought she said she was catching the replay. So look, this is my one, y'all. She says, my husband and I married young, been married for 18 and a half years. We have grown together and choose to still be in love with an ever-changing person. We don't need each other. We want each other. Oh, okay. She came back, y'all. They want each other. Because marriage is work. Marriage is work. And that's what I was going to say about the woman that brought the African over here. She kept saying, I love him, I love him, I love him. Kendra was like, you ain't know him. You didn't know him. You met him on a social media platform. Y'all never experienced each other until you married him. He stayed with her for a year and then took her to court and said that she had put her hands on him. He charged her with domestic violence in court. And she said that is what helped him get his green card. If you take someone to court for domestic violence when you come over here for another country, she said that helps you to get a green card. But the fact that Kendra kept saying to her, you can't say that you loved him and he definitely did not love you. Sometimes we are in such a place because we have not spent time with ourselves. We are not working on trying to grow. Just like my people just said, they grew together. They grew, but growing means that you get better. You learn the person inside and out, the good, bad, the indifferent. And that's why I say I am never, ever going to talk down on somebody because they want to stay married. Never. And I find that people do that so much. I did not stay married, but I still would never talk down on someone. Even if their situation was pretty similar to mine. I say a lot of women have been cheated on. A lot of women have been cheated on. If some of those women would have left their marriages, some of us would not be here. Some of us would not be here. I'm not saying that even people are in the most healthy places, but they loving each other where they at. Me and my girlfriend have talked about that. She had a friend who was with her husband for 27 years till death did them part. She didn't leave, and she said that they had some crazy arrangements going on, but she said she knew they loved each other. So who are we? Who are we? Girl, all relationships are hard. You would hope that someone changes for the better, because they don't always change for the better. But when you see that, when you know that someone is changing for the better, that's the whole thing of it. But in order to see that, there has to be growth in yourself, because you made a great point saying that y'all wanted each other and didn't need each other. A lot of times these people, one of the young ladies said it today. She said, Kendra, everybody need love. Kendra said, you have love already with yourself. And if you feel like you need it from a man, if you feel like you need to be in a relationship with a man, then you're more apt to run into the same type of man that may not be all in it for you as much as you are all in it for him. But we have to understand that they have an opinion, they have a view, they have a right to desire things that they want to desire as well as we do, because we have desires, we have preferences, we want certain things from them. The second young lady with the 5 children, Kendra didn't even want her to give out her information as far as how men could find her. She said, I'm feeling like you're going to get a certain type of man that is not going to be interested in a relationship. And the reason why she said this is because she had 5 children. All of them did have the same father, but that father was the father of 14. And she didn't want to go into really why she chose to have 5 children with a man that had 14 children. And Kendra wound up asking her, when did you find out he had all those different baby mamas? I think she said she found out after the 4th baby mama, which made me feel like he had more than 4 mothers to his children. He had at least 5, because she was one of them, because she said she found out after the 4th baby's mother, but it was after she had 1 child, so she still went out and had 5 children with him after that. And he was physically abusive. So my thought process to that, because she was defensive. Look, I be telling the folks, stay out the comments. Stay out the comments. If you have a social media platform and you can't take it, stay out the comments. If you're on a social media platform, if someone invites you to their platform and you don't think you can take the comments, stay out the comments. If you have a social media, you can turn your comments off. But what you cannot do is stop the people from coming in. But she was getting affected by those comments, but she never went to the place where that first young lady was 25. The second young lady was 29 with 5 children. But the comments were getting to her. They talked about her dad, and her dad had passed away, but he had been in jail since she was 2. She was 29. Dad had been in jail. I forget when she said her dad got out of jail, but 2 weeks after he got out of jail, he got killed. And all I thought about was, if she talked like it was a long time, so I'm thinking that he was probably in jail till she was grown. So this is just my thought process. Your mother probably chose a specific type of man, or was drawing a specific type of man. And so then there's a learned behavior, because and she said that her and her mother have a great relationship, but just because you said that don't mean that behavior that it bothered your 5 children, that not only had 14 children, but he abused you. And so Kendra asked when the last time she was intimate. She asked the people that question. She tell them they don't have to answer, but she would like for them to answer if they're willing to. So she said she hadn't been intimate in quite some time. She said the last time she was intimate with her children's father, and it had been a minute, and then turned around in the very same breath and said, well, we had a threesome recently. She was like, how recent is recently? Like, because you just said it's been a minute since you was intimate with somebody. She said we had a threesome recently, a few months ago, because I wanted to see how he had sex with another woman. Why, Sway? Why did you want to see that? Why do you want to know that? Like, if you say that you are done with him, what in the world would be running through your brain that would want to say, oh, I want to see how he get down with another woman, so I'm going to go on and let him have his way with me. And then she has a sugar daddy who she says takes care of all of her bills. So that's why Kendra said, I didn't really want her to give her information out, because I feel like you're going to draw those kind of people into your inbox. Sometimes you're not ready to be trying to go out there and even start a relationship, because you don't even understand life for yourself yet. Like, you just told the world, I just had a threesome with my baby daddy, and I got a sugar daddy as well. But you put these stipulations out here for the man that you want. But you're not doing any of the work to possibly be the woman that the man that you want wants. That's all Kevin Samuels used to say. A lot of times, y'all know I spoke about people feeling like they in a good place in life because they're successful as far as their careers are concerned. And, you know, we got houses and cars and stuff like that. He said that about a lot of the women. They increased their financial situation and expected that they should be able to move into a new bracket of men because they increased their financial situation. And that same young lady that said women don't like to listen said that men, because she asked the woman, what does she think men wanted? She said confidence. What was the other two that she wanted? She only got one of the two. Because a lot of time, I watch a lot of men platforms. They're not really thinking about your income unless somebody trying to live off of you. If we talking a successful man, he not really concerned with your income. He ain't always gonna just say I don't want you to have no income or anything like that. But for you to think that because you make more money that's going to put you in a different bracket of men, when these men have the preferences that they want, just like you have the preference that you want, could be a little delusional to a man. I really think that I would love to be able to do that, like have women and men together at some point on my platform so that we can talk about these things, so that we can really get a understanding of these things. Because sometimes I think that women are from Mars, men are from Venus, or the other way around. It's real talk. That is real talk. They are thinking about something totally different than we're thinking. And I no more think, because I say, and Kendra said that as well, a man goes out and you want a specific type of woman, but you upset with women that don't fit that mold, because, and I say, I believe it's because you want them and you want them to bend and break to the woman that you want. No. Go find the kind of woman that you want, that's going to be okay with you. But don't find a woman that's like this because you physically attracted to her or what have you, but she's this one way, but you want her to be this other way. Tasha K said, let people be themselves. That is the best advice that anybody can take. Let people be themselves. If you run up on somebody that you are attracted to, and she might be feisty and you don't think she's supposed to be feisty, you attracted to her. She ain't tell you to come over here and be attracted to her. Same rules apply across the board. You can't make a man change to want you because you feel like he just supposed to want you for this reason. If that's not what he wants, but he's somebody that you're attracted to. You can't do it. You can't do it. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. Those Kendra G shows, they be off the Richter sometimes. They be off the Richter. Look, y'all, I'm finna read this word. And how it ties in. It's, give me a minute. Proverbs 23, verse 1. When thou sittest to eat with a ruler, consider diligently what is before thee. When thou sittest to eat with a ruler, consider diligently what is before thee. I said Kevin McCall seemed like he really wanted to be at Chris Brown's table. And this word is going to go ahead and tell you that what you don't want to do is be too anxious when you get that invite to sit where there's honor. Because you might be tempted to start doing things and saying things so that you can be in with the in crowd. And once you do things and say things just to be in with the in crowd, you then begin to compromise who you are. You begin to compromise your morals and your integrity. That's kind of it's kind of the same thing when speaking about trying to change someone into who you want them to be in order for there to be a relationship. If y'all growing together, cool. But if you going into something and thinking that somebody is supposed to just bend to your whim, whether you're a man or a woman, you're just trying to fit into a mold that may cause someone to be changing, compromising their morals and their integrity. Says the unusual dainties can tempt thee to excess, unseemly behavior, yes man type of behavior. You sitting at the table of honor and you just go, whatever they do, it's okay. They do some down and dirty stuff, it's okay, because you want to be at this table. So you're going to let that slide, you're going to let that pass. Unruly speech, revealing of secrets. Anything goes because I want to fit into this crowd. I want to be at this table. I want to make sure that they are going to invite me back to this table regardless of what I have to give up in and of myself to be here. The dangers of depending too much on favor of great people. It could possibly be a bribe. You could be getting duped. You don't know if you're sitting at this table and you got all the good bread up here. You see, because the honor, we talking kings and we talking celebrities. We talking movie stars. We talking judges. It ain't gotta be in one. But the big folks, when you getting invited to a table of honor, that person has power to do good or power to not do good. You said, and you've unconsciously sold yourself. If you're doing any and everything to make sure that this table invites you back, then what is it that you won't do to make sure that this table invites you back? says at the best, it tends to destroy the spirit of independence. Because you're going to be dependent on that person. You're going to be drooling at the mouth. Because you are in the presence of greatness. It says, it's a dangerous thing to trust one's interests to man at all. But it's a doubly dangerous thing if the relationship is not equal. You have to have integrity, because integrity and a moral compass is not going to allow you to sit down in front of anyone and just be taken, so much so that you're going to do anything to fit in. That's what makes the playing ground equal. But if you're going to sit at a table and anything goes, you could be being bribed. You could be being duped. You can wind up hurt in the end, like Kevin McCall saying that Chris Brown owe him all of this money because you just wanted to sit at that table and your financial literacy was not on top of its game, hence the reason why you blew $15 million. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So it says the sycophant is in danger of stooping to unworthy actions in order to please his patron. The sycophant, I put, just for lack of a better word, is the kiss ass. You want to be in that spot so much that you're going to stoop to unworthy actions. Actions that you probably wouldn't have had you not been able or given the opportunity to sit with this person. It says he is tempted to deceive and flatter. We talk about flatter up here all the time. That's the thing that yes men are made out of. Yes men is always going to be on your side. Yes men will never tell you when you're wrong. Yes men will never tell you when it's been too much. Yes men is just going to be yes, yes, yes. Tempted to deceive and flatter in hope of winning favor. You think that if you say yes enough, it's going to put you on an equal playing ground. No. They see you. They see you like we see you. It says the will of the great man supersedes the conscience of his dependent. Thus, the cacophony wrecks the moral nature. So basically, what the great man wants is what the great man gets. You don't have no conscience when it comes to trying to fit into that space. I've heard a lot of times said that millionaires and billionaires, and I've just heard it said on different platforms. I don't know it to be true because I have not been. I've been in the presence of somebody that probably close to millionaire status. But they are not the kindest people sometimes. I've heard it said. We want these things and we want to be in these spaces and we don't know what these spaces entail. And we don't know where these spaces will take us. And we don't know what these people had to do to get to the status that they are. So I just say be careful when you're invited to those tables. That's all. You don't want to be walking around wrecking your moral nature. You don't want to do that. So when I read that, I thought about, we're going to go and talk about Marvin Sapp. So Marvin Sapp is a preacher. Marvin Sapp is a preacher. And he, are you serious right now? I dumped my girlfriend Because her diarrhea smells so bad. It's diarrhea, sir. It's diarrhea. And what was it supposed to smell like? Roses? How long were y'all together? Maybe you eat better than she eats. I'm not gonna negate that, because I tell people, and my aunt don't like to hear it, but I tell people all the time, y'all was together for 4 years and you dumped her because why you couldn't just lead her down to a different way of eating? Because mine's for the most part does not smell bad either. I don't just walk around with diarrhea on a regular basis anyway. Something generally causes diarrhea, but like that was. You is a hot mess. You was with her for 4 years, sir. You was with her for 4 whole years. She stunk up the bathroom for 4 whole years. Period. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. But did you find a girlfriend that don't stink up the bathroom? I hope you found a girlfriend that don't stink up the bathroom. I'm not messing with you no more. Oh my goodness. Anywho. Hello, and welcome, y'all. I would love it if y'all would like, share, and subscribe. My chat. I love my chat. I love chatting with my chat. I love my chat. Marvin Winans is a pastor, and Marvin Winans had a day of giving, I think it was called. He had a day of giving. And so in that day of giving, he had given instruction as to how you were supposed to come up and give in accordance to how much you were giving. So there was supposed to be a line for if you were going to come up with 1,000 plus 1, meaning 1,000 plus $1,000, so $2,000, and then so on and so forth. When this woman came up, she had $1,250 something or something to that effect. And he basically scolded her. That's not what I call for. That's not what I call for. This is the 1 plus 1. Like if you was coming with $200. So she said, well, I'll come with the other $750 or $650 or however much would have got her to $2,000 a little later. Well, that's not how it was supposed to be. First and foremost, the woman did come out because this went viral, even on the news, like because the news interviewed the woman who said that he did not rebuke her, because everybody was saying he rebuked her. But if I go and look up the definition of rebuke right now, what he did fits into there somewhere. But as I stated on a comment today while I was watching something about it, it was a little worse than rebuke. Rebuke is a stern correction. I said God rebukes us. God rebukes us out of love, because God wants us to move a certain way, do a certain thing. So God is going to correct us out of love. But he was calling her out in the public eye in a way that was embarrassing. God is never going to try to embarrass his people, first and foremost. So his yes men came a packing. Fred Hammond is a gospel artist. Ricky Smiley is a comedian who now has a syndicated talk show. I forget what Ricky Smiley's show is called, but DeBrat is on the talk show with Ricky Smiley. and both he and Fred Hammond came in and defended Pastor Winans because he called for these different lines and basically was saying the woman did not follow instruction, which could be the truth. But first and foremost, 2 Corinthians 9 and 7, and I'm going to read that because when Pastor Ray, who was another podcaster I watched that talked about it, spoke on it, he read a passage that my spiritual mother speaks with me about all the time about giving and tithing and things like that. Every man, according as he is, bear with me one moment. Yeah. Every man according as he purposed in his heart, so let him give, not grudgingly or of necessity. He made it of necessity when he called her out. You calling her out because she was in the wrong line, but God loves a cheerful giver. That woman bought you $1,200, and I told folks, once he would have been like, well, that's not what I called for, after she said, I'm going to get the rest of it to you, I was probably going to take my $1,200 and walk back to my seat. He was not going to get any of it at that point. But sometimes the people like to sit at the table with greatness. Because when I heard that she had came out and defended it, I was like, well, hey, she capping for him too. He wanted to sit at the table with the greatness like Fred Hammond and Ricky Smiley wanted to sit at the table with greatness. Yes, that's yes man behavior. That's yes man behavior. And when I say that this is not the first thing, I didn't even know about the church that he's been building. Some of these churches, and I have said that in my own community, some of these churches just really look like I just had to build that so it can catch the people's eye. We have one particular church that I said that about. Ooh, every time it's one around the corner from me. They call this man Daddy. And he has churches. Pastor Ray spoke about that too. I didn't know they were everywhere, but Pastor Ray says the headquarters of this, I think it's called a house of prayer. They have big, just like, you just ain't got no choice. The one near me, you can see from 2 blocks over. From the main street, you can see that church. It is so just like eye-catching. And that strikes me as haughty. It's just my opinion. When I saw that one, the other one that I was talking about first, it's not as dramatic as this one, but it's still a lot. That's what he called, Pastor Ray called Pastor Winans' church that still ain't built since 2003. 2003 when he started building. And I think that they, I'm not going to speak on that much because I didn't really watch for, as far as research purposes, the ones talking about the like paperwork he still needs and everything like that in 2025 for a church that's supposed to be open in 2026. But 2003 to 2023 was 20 years. We ain't getting open till 2026. 23 years. But this is not the first time that Pastor Marvin Winans' name has been out there like that. We have these men in these pulpits and women who feel as though that they can treat God's people any old kind of way, in ways that God don't treat his people. And then we have people that will back it up because they want to be at that table. They want to make sure that they stay in the presence of honor and in the presence of greatness. So they're going to be yes men. Now, the other situation that called me to this this cacophony, wrecking moral nature, was also another Kendra G. The young lady said she had a rapper in mind. She came up there and just knew who she was going to want to be hooked up with. And at first she wasn't trying to Look, I'm not even going to tell you that I know what the 19th Amendment states. I tell people when it's above my pay grade, but I can go in. I like the idea of never having to pay taxes, but because I don't know what the 19th Amendment states, I can't say whether I would repeal it. So I apologize, but I will do the research, and I'm probably going to talk about it on another live. And I'll do you one better. You have just scolded me in a sense because I've been supposing to have been studying the amendments for a little bit. That's a direction I believe that God has placed on my spirit, to study the amendments. So I thank you for, that's why I be telling folk, God will speak to you through people, places, and things. So you got to be able to hear God and not expect it's just going to be a still small voice. In my mind, God just spoke to me through you. So I apologize that I was not able to answer you, and we were not able to have a dialogue about it, because I would love to, and I don't know if you're going to catch me in the next slide. But I'm definitely more than likely going to research it when I get off of this slide. But the young lady on the Kendra G wanted to be hooked up with a rapper that she has sent an edible arrangement to an address that she said was leaked online in public, in public spaces, but she wasn't sure. She thought it was his house, but she wasn't sure if it was his house. And then she saw him in a club and ran up to him and gave him some boxers and something else, and ran away from him after she gave him the boxers. So the edible arrangement guy left the edible arrangements at the gate because he couldn't get in the gate and no one was looking at the cameras or something to that effect. My thing about her was, you then saw that she had these friends, and I guess anything can be possible. But some things that it comes off as delusion. But her friends went back and forth with Kendra. You don't know what's possible, because she's going to be able to meet this man. She's like, Kendra's like, so you've heard of the ways that he treats women and the many children that he has fathered by different women, and this is something that you would still like to get yourself into. But when you have friends that are feeding into and not trying to at least bring both sides, anytime that you have a friend that won't at least question or challenge what you're thinking, especially if it's something high strung. Look, I'm the friend that when I'm going out with my friends, I don't care how good I may think I look. If you see something wrong with what I have on, I want you to at least tell me, so that I can step back. And I'm talking something as simple as that. So anything more heavy than that, come on. Like, a real friend is going to challenge you and check you. My girlfriend just checked. Look, I'm getting ready to be transparent with myself, and I might not have no followers, but the fact that I know that I already have a video out here somewhere on my YouTube, letting you know that I don't have like rodents running everywhere, but the complex that I stay in is on the water. It sits on a river, and there be rodents. I have had family members. My girlfriend stays in a house. She ain't near nothing. She has rodents. I have an aunt that has had rodents. My ex-mother-in-law has had rodents. I have had rodents before. I have just been able to get rid of them And the other places that I've had, neither of the other two places that I had was near water. One of them, well, a little creek-like. But I was able to find the holes, plug them up, and rid myself of the issue. So I see a rodent crawl into my my yoga mat. And I was like, I'm gonna throw it away. My girlfriend said, "You gonna throw it away?" Everybody else just let me say it. You gonna throw it away? What do you mean you gonna throw it away? So what you mean to tell me you never gonna walk around your house without no shoes on? You never, what you gonna do, move outside? Cause they live outside. If you don't throw that thing, she said, if you don't want to do nothing but run bleach in it, why do you have to throw it away? And I still haven't. I still don't know. But I said all of that to say my girlfriend checked me. She didn't just let me sit in that space. And I think that that's important in friendship that we do. That we don't just let each other sit in a space without challenging them. And I felt like they were, it's possible that she could meet Future. She already met him. Not only had she already met him, well, she ain't meet him because she ain't say nothing to him in the club. But you had your opportunity when you ran up to him and gave him the stuff. And then they know somebody that knows him. And the person that knows him told her, don't do it. So you have sent him edible arrangements. You have ran up to him and gave him gifts in the club, and then somebody told you don't do it, and your friends don't want to see at least both sides to it. You have to, if I'm talking to the person with those kind of friends, they're going to find it hard because they like that. People that have yes men and women around them want yes men and women, but I'm talking to the person that's seeking to improve. If you're seeking to improve and you have some people in your face that ain't going to ever challenge you, you might just want to think on those things just a little bit. But as far as Mr. Winans, Pastor Winans is concerned, that woman gave according to how the Bible advised her to give. So if you couldn't pull her to the side or have one of your people pull her to the side, you should have never spoken to her in that place. But you should never be protecting somebody when they cut up like that, because if you just protect the people that cut up, they just grow and grow and grow. When I went looking, I said, before I watched the young lady today about Marvin Winans, because I watched the one Pastor Ray video yesterday, I think. And then I woke up and I watched Layla Lynn. And as I was going into Layla Lynn's video, now we have that the woman came out. When Pastor Ray talked about it, the woman hadn't spoke. So as I was going into, I watched Street Media TV spoke on it too. So as I was getting ready to watch Layla Lynn's, I said, God, I wonder what Pastor Ray has to say about the woman speaking. So I have picture-in-picture on my YouTube. So I had the Layla Lynn, I had decreased it, and I was scrolling YouTube. No sooner than I scrolled 2 good scrolls with my finger, Pastor Ray had a post with a picture of Angela Bassett playing Tina Turner when she was in the mirror, and you first saw that she had got abused, and she putting on the lipstick and looking crazy because her lip is all busted and everything like that. And he basically said the abused will protect the abuser. And if that's what's going to go on, how does he ever have to be accountable? Accountability does not negate any person for their status. Accountability is something that we all should be taking regardless of what our status is. And that's all I have to say about Pastor Winans. Now, this here Brian McKnight. I remember my cousin used to love herself some Brian McKnight. He had a great voice. He has a great, sultry voice. But we don't be knowing these people. We don't know these people that we love. You know what I'm saying? As far as their craft is concerned. We just know, look, I have a lot of my memories today talking about the persona. We just know the persona that they put forth, what they want us to know, what they want us to see. People gonna put forth their best foot on social media. And you know, Brian McKnight comes from a time way before social media. So it has been being said that he said that his first children were made out of sin or were of the devil or something to that effect. It's one of the two. And then he went and he got married again. And he has a son that's his junior. He went and he got married again. And he named the baby Brian McKnight as well, but he wasn't Junior. I'm thinking he gave him a different middle name. And I believe that baby passed away. He went and changed his name legally to that baby's name, which no longer made the Junior a Junior. The Junior's grown at this point. Now let's talk two things being true, possibly at the same time. It's not always that in a situation of, y'all heard me just a while ago say that I had to self-reflect when I went through my divorce. It's not always going to be that everything is all the man. And a lot of times we want, especially if there is infidelity, we want to just tag that as everything that made the relationship break. But as women, we don't always look at not what we could have done to keep them from cheating, but what we did in the marriage that was a flaw. A lot of times men are less apt to speak on the things that we do. I've heard it said that that's because men will stay around for the most part. And I know that to be true in some certain cases. I have a cousin that was a cheater, chicken eater. And then when his wife turned around and did that same thing to him, oh, how sick he was. Woo. Because it's okay that y'all do it, but we not supposed to do it. And when we do it, y'all britches be burnt. Y'all can't take what y'all can dish. But self-reflection will say that you have to look at yourself as a woman. And a lot of times, because our children, for the most part, spend more time around us, and I'm not saying that all women do this, but what I am saying is we affect our children and how they think about our husbands or their fathers, because our husbands are not always their fathers. Sometimes they are our stepdads. We can affect how they think I watched the video that talked about a young lady that came on and talked about all things bad about after her dad divorced her mom. And it went viral. And then the dad got wind of it and brought out receipts. Because she was saying that he won't taking care of him and everything. And he brought out receipts to show the amount of money that he has gone. And then he went and brought out receipts to show you how many pictures he was in of his daughters over the years. So to challenge. Sometimes we are so hurt by the fact that the marriage is over, and if mom is bitter, she can be doing bitter talk. I have seen it done. I'm not saying that it's always the case, but I have to call spades spades. Bitter talk to pit you against the father. I don't even know if my thing gon' that I'ma hope that this ain't make me go silent. I have seen children. I'm gonna be so upset. Is that what happened the last time? I think a call came in. Goodness gracious, I hope my live. Can y'all hear me? Can somebody tell me if they hear me? Can somebody put a we hear you in the chat if y'all can still hear me? I have seen children be mistreated because of the way that the mom felt about the dad. So I have seen all kinds of things stem from relationships going awry. But he won an $8 million settlement. I'm guessing against his wife for writing a book, but as Tasha K stated, the wife said that the book is not really mentioning him. But he felt the need to come online because his relationships are strained with his children. That's what I don't feel like should ever be. I don't feel like anyone should make a choice to keep children from their parents, nor do I feel like anyone should ever allow a relationship to keep them from their children. Sometimes, no man shouldn't have to go to court. Sometimes you do have to do it. They shouldn't have to do it, but sometimes you have to do it. I don't feel like you should be bitter as a woman if a man is not being dangerous to the children. I don't feel like you should be keeping that man away from the children. But for this man to come out and display or make video about winning this lawsuit on the birthday of his son that just passed away earlier this year. His son passed away from cancer. I think they said that he wasn't even in a good place with his son. I'm not quite sure if they said that he didn't go to the funeral. But to make that announcement on his birthday, that was insensitive in a whole nother light. That was past petty. That brought the used to be Brian Jr. out and started speaking of his father not being healed. I brought Brian McKnight here to so that men can understand that y'all are not always healed. He said his father wasn't healed from the time that his mama passed away. Sometimes that can eat at you. It's not always childhood trauma, but anything can cause trauma. And if you are not reflecting on the inward parts, anything can take you down. And then you start to react based off of the trauma that you are going through or experiencing or have experienced. So you got a messed up relationship with your children and you felt the need to come on and make an announcement on the anniversary of your child's birth. Where they do that at? Where do they do that at? My goal and desire is to just see people being their best selves. See people being their best selves, and that is it. That is it. Look, one more thing about that Bible verse. It says, it is a great mistake for the young to suppose that an honored name, being able to get into that table and get some clout, an honored name is kind of more like clout, is more easily made on the battlefield, in the halls of government, the ranks of great writers, or in the business world. That's when it's clout. When you're trying to get it that way, that honored name. No name is more lasting and enduring than that won by him who lives for God and considers all that earth has to offer as worthless for the sake of the Lord Jesus. I turned off every notification. I'm going to be so hot like fire if this video went silent on me. So hot like fire. So we have talked about Kendra G. We talked about Pop the Balloon a little bit. We talked about Kevin McCall, Brian McKnight, and Marvin Winans. Hello, beautiful. If you woke up like this and can't nobody tell you nothing about you, you's in for a cutting of the kite strings. I promise you, thee God will humble thee if thee is not willing to humble thyself. Period. Sylvie loves you, beautiful, and she is out. Look, I didn't even finish, Lord.